My brother in Gege, I got one question. What was he cooking? What a weirdly structured chapter. It was very strange. Cause for real, let me ask you, what was he cooking? Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 210 was a very good chapter. It was alright and had some very peak moments here and there. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I do not read Jujutsu Kaisen for okay. Gege Akutami is the freaking zenith. He actually changed the game and is such a profound mangaka. And recently, he has been scaring me time to time. Frankly, with the Coin games, some of the chapters have been weird. But I can only say for certain with chapter 208 and 210 are the most unsettling. But I digressed. I just want to express to you guys that this chapter was very good. It made sense, it followed through, but in my opinion, this chapter was a little bit more blatantly out of place. And through the review, I'll explain how I feel. But truly, this was still a fun chapter, so let's dive right into it, brothers. So we start the chapter with Hana Kurosu's backstory, and it's pretty interesting because now we see Megumi's past with Hana and how they correlate with each other. But Hana was a young girl at the age of around 5, stuck in a situation where her and a group of children were abandoned in a decrepit house with a cursed spirit taking care of them. And it's made pretty clear that there was ill intent, and this is very dark story-wise because obviously their conditions are subhuman, and this curse is probably keeping them to eat the children. But we cut out of that flashback and enter into the colony invasion with the main gang. The entire sequence of our Sorcerer Squad versus the soldiers is skipped, but we jump to the important bit with Megumi's team managing to apprehend and interrogate and talk to a Japanese American soldier who divulges on the military's plan. So this Japanese American talks about the colony invasion, the sorcerer experimentation, and the cursed energy plan that Kenjaku let them in on. So because of this traitor, Megumi and everyone are now privy to this plan and know what they need to know. A scary thought in Megumi's mind is how the JJK higher-ups are the ones in power, so if they were to exploit cursed energy, it would be bad. The soldier remarks, "Noblesse oblige," which is a type of movement where those with power or privilege are generous, and basically a belief like that would die in a self-made country. I assume the soldier is just pointing out how cursed energy in the hands of foreigners, especially like America, would not be shared equally. In context with Kenjaku's plan, our group now understands that the Coin games have climaxed and the deaths of so many people will bring forth the merger with Tengen. And the unknowing nature of everyone involved, like the soldiers and foreigners, was the result of being tricked by Kenjaku, and now they're being dragged into this world of death and curses to fuel the power of the Coin games. So this is the bomb. Kenjaku just finessed everyone into an inescapable hell. So of course, Yuji has the grand idea to save the soldiers from this hell. This is where our group has a bit of a falling out, because of the conception of saving these sorcerer hunting foreigners, either to save their lives or to stop the cursed energy flow in the Coin games. But it's objective. Angel is in disagreement. They believe it's pointless to save those lives in Tokyo Colony number 1 because the colony has already fulfilled its cursed energy quota. Angel and Hana share a body, and if she's in danger, then Angel is in danger. So incurring risk is pointless and stupid just to save lives. But we understand Yuji feels very differently, and he makes himself very clear by saying not to order us around. He's never trusted any of you. So he lets his intention known, and both Hana and Angel find Yuji's viewpoint disgusting. It's kind of interesting they would quarrel over something like that, considering the next part of the chapter, but we do understand why Yuji is a little critical of Hana. It's not a good reason, but it is a reason. We move on though in a dark segment of the chapter where some soldiers are captured by the vile instinct and wicked nature of cursed spirits, and they're being used as bait to capture other curses, then to be eaten alive by another group of curses, and that's pretty sick. Gege really just be making curses as vile as humanly possible, So we get a minor perspective of a US soldier caught in the chaos and about to be victim of being toyed and eaten by curses. And as a soldier, he was always prepared to die, but definitely not like this. I think this was like a way to show how the foreigners curse and are cursed and die because they utter curses before they die. It's a minor detail, but it was described by Kenjaku that all humans release cursed energy at death and spark a mutation in their brains. Then we cut again to Yuji and Megumi down some alley, and Yuji is acting strange. He's not acting like himself, because when he said any of you, he roped in Angel with the likes of Sukuna like he didn't trust her all the same. But then we cut back to Angel's backstory again, and it's a little weird, but I actually do like her story because of her conditions. She's being kept by a motherly curse. All the children were forced to be fed terrible food and live in subhuman conditions and obey, or they would be killed by this curse taking care of them. Seeing as Hana lived like this almost a year makes this curse even creepier because it did not kill the children who obeyed it. I imagine the spirit could have been like an abusive mother, or even like a mother who died in childbirth and the negativity transcended as a curse. It's just pretty dark. I think this story could have hit a lot harder given it more time, just more of everything really. But Hana was saved by Megumi's white demon dog in a very comforting panel, and Hana is taken care of by a good Samaritan and the police and whatnot. But we see Kid Megumi and young Gojo make their appearance, and they share some really peak moments. They share a funny remark because Megumi unironically got the dog in him, and apparently he had unspoken riz at the age of 5 to 6. It's crazy. Hana likes Megumi after she was saved by him, and she wants to be like him. He had a lasting impression on her. Now, in the recent panel, with Hana realizing her ambition and saving the aforementioned US soldier from being eaten by the curse. And that was cool. It mirrored the Michelangelo painting of Adam and God, but that was a little bit on the nose. That scene was a little forced. That moment did not really hit right for me, personally, given the odd pacing of this chapter. I really just like how Hana appreciated / crushed on Megumi and wanted to save people. It's a little shallow, but I still like it. We cut back to Yuji and Megumi, and Fushiguro points out that it's really just not like Yuji to disregard the feelings of others like he did with Hana. Yuji feels after reuniting with Megumi and being in that group with Kurozu and having another girl in the group, he felt Kurozu's presence was like a replacement for Kugisaki Nobara, and that thought scared him. And honestly, it scares me too, because how in the hell did Yuji ever come up with that? It kind of adds to Yuji's depth in his way of grieving Kugisaki, but honestly, that is a very, very strange, honestly kind of a stupid thought on Yuji's part, because Nobara is a dear friend who is treasured and loved, and we literally just met Hana yesterday. For Yuji, it's barely been 2 days even. Why was that even in his thought process? Was like that moment just for like Nobara crumbs, just to get a little scene with her? Cause this kind of points that Nobara is gone, like she's dead. You can dread from it, you can run from it, deny it, reject it. At this point in the story, it's like she died. If she was to come back, Gege would really need to convince me that that was well written. He'd really need to write extremely well to bring a character like Nobara back into the story, or it would just feel too forced. If she's dead, the verdict has either dragged on too long, or it's just not going to hit right when she does come back, because I just want a clear answer. And today, I really have never seen Gege disrespect a character harder than the likes of even someone like Gojo, and apparently Gege just really hates Gojo for some reason. But the fact that he really had Yuji contemplating his dead friend's replacement even as a thought, that's wild. What the hell was he cooking, bruh? I'ma just let that one simmer in a pot, along with like Yuki's death, Nobara's death, Sakurajima. I know it's a little bit of a crazy take, but it's true. They're just a handful of moments that Gege be bugging. I swear it's very strange because Gege is way too good of an author to be letting some calling game writing stuff just be slipping by. I digress though. The chapter concludes with Hana having a bit of redemption from her earlier behavior, and she's apparently a good person, and the group is back on good terms. Lastly, just a random note, Takaba just nonchalantly broke the fourth wall and found it funny to show us readers that he's in the last panel. So that's pretty crazy. It's actually like one of the craziest things in the story because, of course, in little volume extras and things like that, characters will talk about Gege's manga. But for Takaba to self-insert himself and talk to the readers, that's insane. Like, it's probably just nothing, but this chapter is wild. This was like Gege poured in what really makes his style unique. But I think this particular chapter suffered a little from pacing. If there was a key focus for more than 5 pages, we would have been golden, but that did not happen. And I'd argue the chapter did suffer from that. And I see a lot of fans, and maybe you guys might have the same viewpoints about the directions of the Culling Game chapters. They jump around, there's no real focus, blah, 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 a lot of stuff to say about that. But this chapter, we actually did see a lot of jumping around. Like, if you think about it, we are now in a flashback going back and forth between Hana's flashback. And there's nothing really wrong with that, but there's not nearly enough weight in this situation to really make Hana's story hit. Part of the reason a character like Haguruma works is how Gege gave him an entire chapter to work with, purely just his story. Same with many other side characters. Today we had a little bit of everything. A little horror, a little backstory, comedy, and a lot of stuff happened this chapter. We figured out Kenjaku's motive. Yuji was acting very strange, very out of character over such a very weird reason. It's cool to see his imperfections, like he misses Nobara and he kind of takes his frustration out on Hana, but it's still very strange. And Hana, who turns a full 180 on her character, which is part of the reason why that Angel scene didn't quite hit right. Of course, Hana and Angel are different people, but if Hana wanted to save others, she could have said something earlier in the chapter. The Angel does not control Hana, so I was wondering why Hana was neutral to abandon others for the sake of her own safety and didn't speak up when the Angel was speaking. Was it because Yuji snapped back at her indiscriminately? Did Angel or Hana have an attitude about that? We saw Hana's story, her reasons for being good, because of Megumi. She may even have stopped Megumi from killing Remy. Remember bloodlusted Megumi from chapter 173? Hana may have stopped that. She was saved by Demon Dog after all. And it opens a lot of questions that I'm just racing through my mind right now. Will we go into Angel's backstory? Why is Sukuna the Fallen? Are we still going to kill Yuji after all of this? It's pretty weird. One chapter makes me question so many things, and not everything is in a positive light. Gege Akutami also made a statement this week that Jujutsu Kaisen is ending this year, and from what we already knew like way back from 2021 that he would end the series around this time, at least hinting that he wants it to be over this year. Now, it's beyond me how 40 to 50 chapters can resolve all of Jujutsu Kaisen unless it's like a part 1, part 2 thing. But if he keeps having chapters like this, he probably could do it. Doesn't mean he should. Like if you sacrifice pacing and quality, he could do something like that. And that's the part that scares me. But this chapter was good. To me personally, it felt more like a 6 out of 10 chapter. A very solid 6 with some amazing moments. Of course, seeing young Megumi and young Gojo, that was goated. That was clean. But even then, we just got little tidbits, little crumbs here and there. It's just all around a very strange chapter. I'm feeling very mixed right now. The biggest things to me was just like how Hana's character was kind of contradicting. Of course, maybe a lot of you guys might like it, but it felt like Hana's character should have had more of an impact. The pacing was a bit aggressive. Yuji's character in this chapter was very in his feelings. And again, the thoughts in this boy's head that boy just ain't right. He gonna slander Nobara in his own headcanon. And finally, the last panel is mine. It's just a very crazy chapter. I don't know. I'm gonna have to let this one simmer, y'all. This could just be like a setup chapter. Next chapter could just make everything right, but this was still fun. Thank you guys for watching this video. I am a bit concerned over Gege's comment about ending Jujutsu Kaisen this year. JJK just has so much to unravel that just this year seems too fast. I'd really hate for any drop in quality to make Jujutsu Kaisen feel any different in any way, but I just imagine Gege is kind of just selling himself short like a lot of mangakas do. But we will see in time. Thank you awesome brothers for watching. I got some cool content coming ahead, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.